Greetings, welcome to module 3 unit 20 on student support systems. In the earlier unit we understood the SCR requirements of the first year academics, that is criterion 8 of SCR. In this unit we will understand the SCR requirements related to student support systems. This is criterion 9 of SCR. So, this is also an institutional level criterion. This criterion is concerned with student support systems. The sub criteria, the required processes, the allocation of marks and the required exhibits are all same for both tier 1 and tier 2 institutes. And as I mentioned, this is again an institute level criterion. There are 7 sub criteria and the sub criteria and allocation of marks are as follows. 9.1 mentoring system to help at individual level 5 marks, feedback analysis and reward corrective measures taken if any 10 marks, feedback on facilities 5 marks, self learning 5 marks, career guidance, training, placement 10 marks, entrepreneurship cell 5 marks, co-curricular and extracurricular activities 10 marks. The total is 50 marks and the sub criteria, the allocation of marks and the total marks are same for both tier 1 and tier 2 institutes. Let us look at the first sub criterion 9.1, which is concerned with mentoring system. The mentoring system is to help individual students. The evaluation guidelines are as follows. Details of the mentoring system that has been developed for students for various purposes and also state the efficacy of such system. The exhibits to be observed, mentoring system terms of reference, implementation, effectiveness. The visiting team will assess the effectiveness of the mentoring system when they interact with the students also. Many institutes do have a mentoring system in place. However, some of them implement the system either informally or semi formally, but it is a good practice to implement the system in a formal fashion. A written document describing the details of the mentoring system process must be available. IQAC can develop this document in consultation with stakeholders. The process document may include the following details. The details listed here are representative only. The actual details in a process document would vary from institute to institute. The internal quality assurance cell has to develop a document that is suited best for their specific context. So, some of the details that may be included in the process document are as follows. Number of students per mentor. Typically, this number would be between 15 and 20. If a mentor is allocated a very large number of students, the mentoring system will not be very effective. So, the number of students allocated per mentor is typically between 15 and 20. Frequency of mentoring sessions. Again, this can vary from institute to institute, but typically at least once in a month the mentor meets her mentees. Scope of mentoring. The mentoring can include professional guidance, career advancement, coursework specific issues, laboratory specific issues, or it can be even personal issues. Most of the institutes include all of these aspects in the scope of mentoring. Some institutes may have more than one mentoring system to accommodate these issues. The most common scenario is that there is a single mentoring system and the scope of such a system includes all these issues. Identifying weak and bright students is also generally included in the scope of the mentoring system. Further details in the process document can be as follows. Problem escalation procedure. There may be occasions where the faculty has to take up the problem with higher authorities. What should be the procedure for escalating a problem in such situations? This must be clearly spelled out in the process document. The need may arise when the mentor is unable to resolve the problem of the student, or when several students report the same problem or similar problems. Probably it is something that needs to be resolved at the institute level. The individual faculty may not be able to help the student with regard to this specific problem. Then the faculty must know what is the procedure by which the problem can be escalated to higher authorities. Format of the records of mentoring sessions also may be included in the process document. It is desirable to maintain a record of specific case studies which illustrate the efficacy of the mentoring system. If there are specific cases where students benefited from the mentoring system, it is worthwhile recording such cases in full detail. They will serve to illustrate the efficacy of the mentoring system. It is a good practice to explain the scope and purpose of the mentoring system to the new students as well as new faculty. Often faculty pick up the elements of the mentoring system from their colleagues, but it is a good practice to introduce faculty to the mentoring system in a formal induction program. Similarly, new students also must be made aware of the features of the mentoring system. These steps would ensure that the mentoring system becomes effective and efficient. Subcriterion 9.2 deals with feedback analysis and reward corrective measures taken if any. The evaluation guidelines include two aspects: methodology being followed for analysis of feedback and its effectiveness, that carries 5 marks, record of corrective measures taken, and this carries 5 marks. This subcriterion has a total of 10 marks. The exhibits to be observed and assessed: feedback questions, feedback collection process, analysis of the feedback data, actions taken, and the effectiveness of the actions taken. We discussed the collection of student feedback, analysis and corrective actions in module 2. We also discussed the tricky problem of getting valid survey data in module 2. Feedback must be collected for all courses. The process document must include details of feedback format, questions in the feedback form, computation of faculty evaluation indices, etc. In module 2, we discussed the details of feedback format and questions in the feedback form. When the feedback is used to evaluate the faculty, institutes generally have a procedure for computing a single metric from the feedback data. This metric is a measure of the teacher's effectiveness. It is also possible for the institutes to come out with a composite metric. For example, some institutes compute the metric along 3 dimensions. The first dimension can be the academic competence of the faculty member. The second dimension can be the supportive nature of the faculty member. The third dimension can be the discipline being maintained in the classroom. So, there will be 3 numbers indicating the quality of the faculty member. Usually the number is a real number between 0 and 1, or it is recorded as a percentage. The department must maintain records of number of students participating in the surveys. The number of students participating in the surveys. The department can also compute average percentage of the number of students participating in the surveys. Corrective measures taken and their effectiveness must also be recorded. In module 2, we discussed that unless corrective measures are taken, the students will not have faith in the process of providing the feedback. Values of all faculty evaluation indices over the years must be maintained in the department. Visiting team often would look at the variations in the evaluation indices of the faculty over the years. That would be a measure of any corrective actions taken. The effectiveness of the corrective actions taken can be seen in the changes in the evaluation indices. The subcriterion 9.3 is concerned with feedback on facilities. Most of the institutes have a mechanism of collecting feedback data from the students regarding the faculty and sometimes regarding the courses, but this subcriterion talks of feedback on facilities. The evaluation guidelines include feedback collection, analysis and corrective action. Institutes must collect student feedback regarding all the facilities. Facilities include not only laboratories, but also on-campus facilities like drinking water systems, parking facilities, canteen, etc. Feedback may be obtained regarding facilities to support sports and or cultural activities also. IQAC may design a suitable form for collecting the feedback. As mentioned earlier, feedback must be collected electronically. The periodicity of feedback on facilities is typically once every year. Some institutes ask students to rate the satisfaction with a facility and also the importance of that facility in their perception. The difference between perceived importance and satisfaction can be used to prioritize the action plan for improvement regarding that facility. For example, students may be quite unhappy with a particular facility. However, they rate it as not really important. Then the institute can consider this aspect as a low priority item. On the other hand, if students rate a particular facility as highly important and also indicate that they are not happy with that facility, that means that the difference between importance and satisfaction is a high positive number. The institute must initiate corrective actions on a priority basis. This can be one method of prioritizing the improvement plans because of the limited budgets. Institutes must analyze the feedback data, initiate appropriate actions and measure the effectiveness of the actions taken. Records of all these activities must be maintained. For example, if the institute has made efforts to improve the quality of a particular facility, that must get reflected in the survey that is carried out the next year. It will show that the actions initiated have been effective. Subcriterion 9.4 deals with self-learning. We already have seen earlier that self-learning is considered as an extremely important attribute of the graduating engineers. It is there in one of the program outcomes also. The evaluation guidelines include scope for self-learning, this is for 2 marks. The institution needs to specify the facilities, materials for learning beyond syllabus, webinars, podcasts, MOOCs, etc., and demonstrate its effective utilization. This aspect carries 3 marks. Some of the good practices in support of subcriterion 9.4 can be as follows. Establish an e-learning center with adequate number of computer systems and internet with good bandwidth. Of course, what is good will depend upon the specific context in which the institute is operating. Procure, upgrade and maintain learning resources including material from NPTEL, SWAYAM, etc. The institute can maintain this material either as hard copies or as soft copies or available as both hard and soft copies. This material must be beyond those required as per the curriculum. So, the learning material is beyond what is required as per the curriculum. Implement suitable mechanisms for disseminating widely and periodically information regarding learning resources available. Often the students may not be aware of the new learning resources that have been added to the e-learning center. The institute must initiate appropriate measures to ensure that the information is disseminated among all the students at appropriate times. So, the institute must have measures which will ensure that the students are aware of the learning resources available in the e-learning center. Encourage the students to use these e-learning resources. Maintain records of utilization, and it is evident that the schedule of the activities planned for the students must have some time available for the students to engage in the self-learning activities. If the entire weekly timetable is totally packed with scheduled activities, the students may not be able to make use of the facilities available in such an e-learning center. Sub-criterion 9.5 deals with career guidance, training and placement. The evaluation guidelines look at 4 different aspects regarding this sub-criterion. Availability of career guidance facilities for 2 marks, counseling for higher studies including GATE, GRE, GMAT, etc., 2 marks, pre-placement training 3 marks, placement process and support 3 marks. The exhibits to be observed and assessed include the availability of this facility, implementation, effectiveness. The visiting team would also verify the material provided by the department under this criterion when they interact with the students. The claims made for a particular program are verified when the visiting team interact with the students. Almost all institutes have a placement and training department or an equivalent department or cell. Institute must provide adequate financial resources and human resources for effective and efficient functioning of this department. Often placement departments work beyond the regular college hours. So, the institute must provide appropriate infrastructure support for the placement department to work efficiently. Plan, schedule, implement and record career guidance sessions, counseling sessions for higher studies. Adequate information must be easily available regarding career opportunities and opportunities for higher studies. The placement department can maintain a good stock of information brochures regarding different career opportunities and information brochures regarding the opportunities for higher studies. Information booklets of different reputed universities and institutions in India and abroad can be maintained in the placement department. Students must be able to refer to these booklets easily. It is also desirable for the department to make information available regarding different career opportunities. For example, career opportunities in defense sector, in public industry sector, in core industry sector, abroad. These all can be made easily available and accessible to the students. Plan, schedule implement and record pre-placement training, including training in group discussions, facing interviews, etc. Most of the placement departments do conduct regular training programs for students in these transferable skills. Group discussions, facing the interview, personality development, these are some of the topics on which regular training sessions are held. But ensure that the department does these activities as per a prepared plan and as per a well laid out schedule. Records must show the implementation of such pre-placement training activities. How many students participated in those training programs? How many students are happy with the training programs provided? How many students require certain additional training? This kind of data must be maintained by the placement department. The department must have a written policy regarding the placement process. If a student gets multiple job offers, is the student allowed to participate in the recruitment drive of one more company? How many recruitment drives are allowed per student? Is there something like a dream company option provided to the students? In other words, even if the student has already an offer in hand, can she be allowed to appear for the interviews of one specific company which she has listed as her dream company? The placement options are many. The policy diversions possible are also many. Institutes must have a policy that is best suited for its specific context. Such a policy must exist as a written document and must be known to all the students. So, it is a good practice to have a written policy regarding the options available to the students and make this policy a transparent one. Let the students know the policy of the institute regarding these placement options. All the records must be maintained properly. This will include the companies in which the placements are provided to the students, the pay package offered to the students. The department can maintain records of the maximum pay package, the minimum pay package, the mean pay package. All these details must be maintained thoroughly. Subcriterion 9.6 deals with entrepreneurship cell. Evaluation guidelines look at three aspects of entrepreneurship: entrepreneurship initiatives 3 marks, data on students who benefited from the entrepreneurship initiatives 2 marks. Exhibits to be observed and assessed include the availability of such a cell, the implementation and effectiveness of such a cell. Again, the visiting team will verify the data provided under this subcriterion when they interact with the students. So, the data provided must be authentic and verifiable from the students. Some of the good practices which are possible under this subcriterion would be as follows. Many institutes do have an entrepreneurship cell, but many of them lack a clear written policy regarding the activities of such a cell. So, it is a good practice to have a clear written policy regarding promoting entrepreneurship activities, and this process document can be developed by the internal quality assurance cell. IQAC can develop such a process document in consultation with the stakeholders. Adequate budgets must be provided to support the activities of the EDC, that is Entrepreneurship Development Cell. EDC must plan and implement programs to promote entrepreneurship awareness and encourage aspiring students. The programs could include special lectures by experts from industry, special lectures by experts from finance sector like banks or other funding agencies. If it is possible to get some of the alumni who have become entrepreneurs to visit the campus and talk to the students, that would be a very good initiative. Written procedures must be available describing the process involved in providing assistance to the students who wish to become entrepreneurs. If a student has a business idea and wants to become an entrepreneur, what is the procedure to be followed by him in order to seek assistance from the institute? This must be clearly written in the process document. Details to be provided by aspiring student and the format in which she has to submit the proposal. What is the business case? What are the finances involved? What are the technologies involved? What are the other issues related to the business idea that the student has, must all be included in the proposal. The department must have a formal format available for the students to work with such business cases. Preliminary scrutiny and guidance in refining the proposal. Evidently, the initial proposal of the student would go through some kind of a scrutiny committee, and the scrutiny committee may help the students in refining their proposals if they are not in good shape. Extent and type of assistance provided to the student. The assistance can be financial assistance, or it can be provision of laboratory facilities. It can also include providing technical advice. Occasionally, the institute may be able to engage a technical consultant in the domain concerned to help the students. Sometimes faculty members who are experts in the specific domain may also help the students with technical issues. Clear guidelines must exist on the policy regarding the assistance to be provided to the students. It must also spell out what will be the extent of such assistance. Duration for which the assistance will be provided must also be clear. What are the mechanisms available for periodic review of the progress of the student? This must be clearly documented in the process manual. What are the expectations from successful students? If the students become successful entrepreneurs, what does the institute expect from those students? The expectations need not be financial. Does the institute expect the students to acknowledge the contribution of the institute in their propaganda, publicity? What are the policies regarding the sharing of IPR or the policy for sharing any remuneration that one can get from royalties? There are many issues that are related to entrepreneurship. The policy document must clearly spell out all these issues. They may look like too many details, but the entrepreneurship involves finance. So, the institute must have a clear policy document for the operation of the EDC. Subcriterion 9.6, further discussing this subcriterion, records of full details of success stories must be maintained. If some of the students become successful entrepreneurs with the assistance of EDC, then the EDC must maintain detailed records of such success stories. The records could include the original proposal by the student as well as the success achieved by her entrepreneurship, any press coverage provided to such students. All such data must be maintained with the EDC. They show the effectiveness of the functioning of the EDC. So, EDC must maintain good records of the success stories. Periodic review of the functioning and effectiveness of EDC must be conducted. It is essential that there is a periodic review regarding the function of the EDC, and the periodic review can also throw up suggestions for improving the functioning of the EDC. EDC must record such suggestions, analyze them carefully and implement feasible suggestions in a planned way. All implementation records must be maintained well. Now, let us look at the last sub criterion, that is sub criterion 9.7, which is concerned with co-curricular and extracurricular activities. The evaluation guidelines would include availability of sports and cultural facilities for 3 marks, NCC, NSS and other clubs 3 marks, annual students activities 4 marks. The exhibits to be observed and assessed include the availability of the facilities, the implementation of policies and the effectiveness of the facilities and policies provided. Once again, the visiting team would verify the data provided under this sub criterion when they interact with the students. Some of the good practices in support of this sub criterion would be as follows. Adequate budgets must be allocated to ensure that the sports facilities are adequate in quantity and quality, and also that these facilities are maintained well. Establish and maintain facilities for cultural activities. Facilities may include good quality auditoriums both indoor and outdoor, spaces for clubs like film club, dramatics club, etc. The institute must promote NCC and or NSS activities. It must provide adequate budgetary support. Institute must conduct annual sports events and cultural events. It must encourage students to assume leadership roles during these events. Faculty can act as mentors. However, the primary responsibility for coordinating the events must be entrusted to the students. This would be a great opportunity for the students to acquire these important skills. Maintain proper records of all the activities. An exercise for you: describe the mentoring system implemented in your institution. Thank you for sharing the results of the exercise at nate.iacta@gmail.com. In the next unit, we will look at the SAR requirements related to governance, institutional support and financial resources. That is the criterion 10 of SAR, which is also the last criterion of SAR. Thank you.